And welcome to South Jersey in Focus. I'm your host, Veronica Dudo. On this week's episode, we look at the success of candlelight concerts, which are exploding in popularity in New Jersey and around the world. Plus, a South Jersey farm-to-table establishment is now taking harvest dinner reservations. We'll discuss the menu and location with the general manager. Candlelight concerts cater to a wide array of musical tastes, presenting an impressive variety of themes and genres. Whether you're a fan of classical music, jazz, pop, movie soundtracks, or ballet, there's something for everyone. These performances feature professional musicians from around the globe chosen to perfectly suit each program's theme, ensuring an unforgettable experience. New Jersey music lovers are in for a magical experience with candlelight concerts. The concerts are growing in popularity around the world and are known for their mesmerizing ambiance and exceptional musical performances. For more, we are joined by Alex Baker, a senior project manager for Candlelight at Fever. Hi, Alex. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Hey, Veronica, thanks so much for having me.
So, first, for people who may not be familiar, what are candlelight concerts?
Yeah, so I think you actually nailed it in your introduction, actually. So, Candlelight was created by Fever in 2019 with the mission of democratizing access to classical music. So, yeah, we have a variety of programming, like you said, everything from Vivaldi to Taylor Swift. We even have jazz programming, like Best of Hip Hop on Strings. And we try to find really unique historical venues. In kind of any given area, we set up thousands of candles, create this really, magical special ambiance, and then we get, top tier local musicians in the area to perform the programming, typically over strings, but we also have a variety of other instruments as well. And yeah, that's basically the Candlelight series in a nutshell.
Now, what inspired candlelight concerts and the series that continue on?
Yeah, so again, the heart of the mission was to democratize access to classical music, because for a lot of people getting to hear classical music live isn't feasible because you might have to travel a long distance or pay a lot of money, or in some cases both, actually. So I grew up in a small town in New Jersey, and the conception there was that if you wanted to hear classical music, especially kind of top tier classical music, you had to travel into Manhattan and pay an arm and a leg. But what's special about Candlelight is that not only does it make classical music accessible in regards to location and tickets, but with all of our unique programming, it invites a broader audience of people who might not have otherwise been interested in classical music.
Absolutely. And when you start to look, as you were mentioning, about having to travel and usually to a big city, it's oftentimes because there's a large orchestra or a symphony. And when you look at the Candlelight concert series, they have a mini version of that kind of hits the road. And as you mentioned, it really makes this beautiful, timeless music so accessible to a lot of people, not just here in New Jersey, but across the country and even around the world.
Exactly. Yeah. It really just puts it into this digestible format that I think a lot of people can appreciate, even if they're not inclined to go, see an orchestra or pay for an orchestra. The shows last around 60 minutes. So you're not in for this, super, super long experience. And yeah, we take place in over, I think it's 150 plus cities around the world at this point. So if you're really anywhere, you can probably find a candlelight concert that's quite close to you.
Now, that it's not just amazing music and very talented musicians, but it's also the ambiance. So let's talk a little bit about how the candlelight setting enhances the audience's experience during the performances.
Yeah, so we use thousands of candles, and it honestly just creates this breathtaking and really immersive, intimate experience that is honestly a little bit hard to describe verbally. It's the kind of magic, in my opinion, you kind of just have to go and see for yourself. But yeah, imagine just any kind of, beautiful, unique venue. We have a lot of, historic churches in New York City, actually, just lit up and illuminated by thousands of candles, and you're hearing this beautiful music. It's really a special experience.
Now, of course, the repertoire includes several legendary composers. What is the process behind the curation for the concerts?
Yeah, I love this question because we have an in-house music curation team that does research and provides recommendations. They are extremely talented people. They're very committed to not just making programs based on what the people want, but programs that are really going to translate and sound great in this kind of format. So yeah, this is based off of global metrics on what's performing well, who's popular. We do a lot of tests to see, if a certain program might land or not, and also feedback from our audience and musicians on what people want to hear. So if anyone out there has a recommendation or there's something that they really want to hear, let us know. We're all ears. Or if you go to a show, we always ask for reviews afterwards. So if you loved it, let us know and let us know what other artists you want to see.
Now, the company has also branched out to diversify its selections by offering modern artists like Taylor Swift, Coldplay, and Imagine Dragons. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how are you able to use that music?
Yeah, so again, I got to shout out our music curation team for this one. It's certainly not in my nature to be able to kind of hear a song on the radio and know whether or not it would translate to a string piece, but they can do it and they do the best job at it. But yeah, we have programs based on pretty much anything that you can think of. Like you said, Taylor Swift, Coldplay, Imagine Dragons. We even have best of heavy metal on strings. My personal favorite is actually best of hip hop on strings. There are a lot of fun medleys in there. Like there's an Outkast medley, a Jay-Z medley, and like you can kind of feel the audience leaning in and trying to like hear like what piece is going to come next throughout those pieces. Um, but yeah, essentially, our music curation team will just kind of assess what kind of programming they want to put together, what will translate, and they're able to create sheet music to kind of compose, pieces that can then be played by a string quartet. So they're super talented. Anything you can think of, again, from Vivaldi, which I think is a little, little more classic to play on strings, to all the way to hip hop.
Can you tell us more about the musicians performing at your events and their backgrounds?
Yes, I'd love to. So we hire the best local musician that any given area has to offer. So we keep it local to support the musicians in whatever area that we're in. But obviously, we want to make sure that they have a proven track record of excellence and success. So our curation team does do test runs to make sure that they're up to Candlelight standard before bringing them on board. In the tri-state area, we partner with Highline String Quartet and Listesso String Quartet, and they are absolutely exceptional. They're just so much fun to hear live and super talented.
Now, how has audience reception been for some of the Candlelight Concert Series events?
I mean, I'm a little bit biased. Obviously, you're asking me that question, but I have to say, audience reception has been incredible. We're constantly adding more dates in our existing markets and expanding to new cities. So people they want more.
Now, you mentioned doing a lot of tracking and analytics. Do you know what some of the most popular concerts are?
Yeah, I'd say that some of our tribute programs, like featuring jazz, rock, hip hop, pop, I know I just gave you a breadth of examples there, but those tend to be super, super popular. Obviously, you can kind of look out there at the musicians that are popular on the radio. Like Taylor Swift is one of our top performing sellers. But again, we have anything from like Beyonce to Frank Sinatra, best of hip hop. We also have seasonal programming that's really popular. Like spooky season is upon us. So we have Halloween shows coming up. And in December, we'll have holiday programming. And for those who want to get ahead, I'm looking at anyone who kind of buys a card and Flowers Day of. We also have Valentine shows in February that feature timeless love songs. So yeah, we have just a breadth of programming that's super popular.
So, you talked about some of the venues being historical spaces, of course, churches, even aquariums in some locations. How do the venues add to the overall ambiance of the performances?
Yeah, so we are known for bringing classical music beyond traditional concert halls and into unique venues that really form a part of each city's cultural heritage. So, like I mentioned earlier, in New York, we have a lot of historic churches. In Jersey City, actually, we do shows at White Eagle Hall, and that was actually a community center built in 1910. That's now this really cool live music venue. So I think that's something that's really special about Candlelight is when you go to shows across the world, the venue itself is going to play such a huge part in the experience that you're having.
Now, are there any plans to expand this type of concert to other genres or artists in the future?
Always, yeah, we're always innovating and creating new Candlelight concert programs and experiences. So definitely keep an eye out. For example, we actually just launched a Rings and Dragons program that features music from the soundtrack of Lord and the Rings and Game of Thrones. So again, there is really something out there for everyone.
Now, if people are interested, as you mentioned, there's Halloween concerts. Of course, you can always start to buy for Christmas and even Valentine's Day. Where can people find out more information or purchase tickets?
Yeah, great question. So I would encourage people to download the Fever app or go to feverup.com, search in your city, see what candlelight shows we have going on. Yeah, in Jersey City, we have Halloween Classics taking place on October 17th. I'm sure we have other people from the tri-state area tuning in. So in Philadelphia, we have a bunch of venues doing Halloween programming throughout October as well. So definitely encourage you to download the Fever app, go to feverup.com and check out what shows are available.
Thank you so much for your time today and telling us more about the Candlelight series.
Thank you so much. It was great to chat about it.
As the fall season settles in, visitors to Cape May can experience a unique farm-to-table adventure at Beach Plum Farm. Nestled in West Cape May, this 62-acre farm offers seasonal produce, hand-raised livestock, and a true taste of the Garden State's autumn. With its rich history and a deep commitment to sustainable farming, Beach Plum Farm is a popular destination for those seeking fresh local food in a scenic setting. Here to discuss how this farm is creating a special experience for locals and tourists alike while preserving the traditions of the fall harvest is Ed Hackett, the general manager of Beach Plum Farm. Hi, Ed. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
So first, can you tell us a little bit about the history of Beach Plum Farm and its significance to the Cape May community?
Yeah, Beach Plum Farm is been established since 2008. It's kind of located in West Cape May, which is 5 minutes out from center of Cape May. We are a leading force in the farm to table movement in South Jersey. We really pride ourselves on basically growing things in the field and showcasing them in our market and at our farm to table dinners and on our chalkboard menu that we offer during the day for breakfast and lunch.
Now, this idea has really been growing in popularity. What has been the feedback from visitors and tourists?
I think it's been amazing. I lived in Philadelphia for 22 years, and I always wanted to be a part of something so controlled in a farming aspect and really seeing people's reaction when we're actually growing the food and the produce in the fields and then bringing it up to the market and preparing it in the kitchen and then having guests enjoy it at night at one of our farm to table dinners has been really special for everyone. And the feedback has been absolutely out of this world. It's been great.
So you talked about it being established in 2008. How has the farm evolved over the years and what makes it stand out as a fall destination?
Well, I think it's really unique because Cape May and the farm itself is, it's a year-round environment. The farm never sleeps. We're working on it 365 days a year. It did start as a farm itself, and then it's evolved into a market. It's evolved into a restaurant, and now we have 6 cottages also on the property where guests can come and stay overnight for a length of weekends or during the week or a couple days, and they get to really enjoy the farm itself and be a part of the community here.
Now, that's something that a lot of people may not know is that the cottages are also on the property. So it's a very unique venue area there, nestled in Cape May. So can you tell us a little bit more about the cottages and maybe what are some occasions that people could look into booking?
Sure, great. So the cottages are really unique. So we have 6 cottages on property. Most of them are 3 bedrooms. We do have a couple 4 bedroom cottages themselves. When you stay on the farm itself, you're only 5 minutes away from Cape May. And if you stay here during the summertime, you have beach access also to Congress Hall, which is fantastic. The cottages all come with a golf cart. They come with bicycles, full kitchens. When guests check in, something really unique that we love here is we give them what we call like our breakfast stock, where you get eggs from the farm, bacon from the farm, you get a loaf of bread, milk, juice, everything you really need to just start your day at your own pace. And the cottages themselves are really, really, really fantastic in a way that you can come and enjoy the farm itself and actually just be close to town and be in like your own little cottage yourself. And you can walk the farm itself, you can go pick vegetables and really kind of immerse yourself into the culture of the farm.
Now, of course, you talked about it being open during all seasons. Could you just give us a quick overview of what visitors can expect throughout the different seasons if they do come down for a visit?
Yeah, it's great. So we're in fall right now. So what we're doing in October is we're doing fall on the farm. It's a little event, you might say, where we kind of explore fall at the farm being in October with pumpkins, hay rides. We're doing a really seasonally kind of like menu itself. We're gonna have pumpkin decorating for the families, and we're gonna have live music. And that's on Saturdays and Sundays from 10 till 4. And then also coming up too is we have our holiday season, which is what we call a home for the holidays, where we decorate all the cottages themselves in with Christmas trees and decorations. And we encourage families to come down and visit and reconnect with each other and kind of explore Cape May around the holidays. Because during the holidays, Cape May, with the old Victoria homes, we also have Congress Hall has what they call Winter Wonderland, which is an amazing festival with carousel rides, train rides, outdoor vendors, wonderful food experiences too. So you can do that. And then in the springtime, we get ready we do all of our spring planting. We get ready for our summertime. And then, like I said, in the summertime, it's great because, you have the idea of staying on a farm, but you're only 5 minutes away from the beach itself. So you can enjoy the beach itself.
Now, what seasonal produce and products can visitors expect to find at Beach Plum Farm during the fall months?
The fall months, you're looking at squash. You're looking at like leafy vegetables like kale itself, pumpkins, obviously gourds. Besides produce, we have our chickens on property laying eggs every day, so you can come to the market and get fresh eggs. And it's just it's a really nice cozy time. Like we encourage guests to come put their favorite sweater on, sit by one of our outdoor fire pits, have a cup of hot apple cider, and just enjoy the day.
Now, so many people are really looking into ingredients and what they're ingesting and putting into their bodies. I think really now more than ever. And so when you look at the farm and everything is raised there and just kind of from a health standpoint, can you talk a little bit about how this really stands out to some other destinations in New Jersey?
Right. So the farm itself is we practice regenerative farming. It's a level where we don't use any pesticides or any chemicals in our fields. We really use basically the livestock itself to churn and nurture the ground itself, and we plant our vegetables there. So we're really proud of that. Is that we're basically controlling the fields themselves, and we're controlling our livestock, giving them the best possible life they could possibly have, so that they give us the best products, and then therefore our crops themselves are basically, we don't use pesticides, we don't use any chemicals. So when you're coming here, you're actually having like a true form of like what a squash should taste like. Or, if you come here in the summertime, our tomatoes, we're known for our tomatoes at the farm, and we do heirloom tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, all different types. And it's really special to see the guests that actually drive a distance to come here just to, purchase our produce because of what we stand for and what we're proud of.
What are some of the remarks and comments for people when they're able to taste those interesting produce choices?
Well, I'm lucky enough to host the farm to table dinners here for the remainder of the year. They're on Friday and Saturday nights. And what I love doing is just basically showing someone for example, we have turnips in growing right now, and they're our harvest. So, just basically having someone have just like a simply grilled turnip, and just having the chef doctor it just a little bit with a couple ingredients, and having that ingredient stand on itself is really spectacular. And it's nice for me to interact with the guests because I can see how much work goes into the crops and the produce from the farm team, and then explaining that to the guests. It's really nice and eye opening for them to understand that literally these vegetables grew within like 200 yards of where they're having dinner.
I'm sure a very rewarding full circle moment. Now, sustainability is a huge hot topic. So, what role does sustainable farming play into the day to day operations at Beach Plum Farm?
Well, like I said, we are a regenerative farm. So, we're always thinking about that. Christina Albert, who's the agricultural director, does an amazing job planning out the fields, planning out the cycles, planning out the seasons. She's always a couple seasons ahead of where we're at right now with planning with what's going on the farm. And we do the best we possibly can, with the products we have. And basically, nothing really goes to waste here at the farm. If, produce, is spoiling or is it up to the best quality, and we can give it to our livestock, so like our pigs sometimes, it's pumpkin season right now. And when I started working here, I didn't realize how much pigs love pumpkins. So now it's like any pumpkin waste is now going to the pigs, and they're loving life right now. So it's really this cycle that we try to keep everything going, where we want to respect the land as much as we possibly can, because there's so much work that goes into growing of the produce and the livestock here at the farm.
With this type of operation, having the capacity to kind of, fill in those blanks, as you mentioned, just to make sure things are being reused really is important to the environment. And that's something people are also very interested in supporting. Now, of course, we discussed the cottages that are there, also the access to Congress Hall if you stay, and the special harvest dinners. But Beach Plum Farm also offers educational tours and workshops. Now, how do some of these events engage with visitors and also promote a deeper understanding of farming?
Great. So, for example, this week, Cape May is known as one of the hubs for the bird migration in the United States. And this week, we actually have Richard Crosby in town for a couple of days doing a class and actually taking guests that are staying here at the cottages out on tours for birding. Christina Albert is working alongside of him too with the tours themselves. We also have packages like what we call Rooted, which you can come to the farm and work hands-on with the farming team and learn everything from seeding to building greenhouses at your house to, if you want to learn about chickens and raising chickens, we do a backyard chicken class also. And the farm tours, they run on the weekends at 11 o'clock on Saturdays and Sundays for the remainder of the year. And they're a great hour-long lesson and tour of the farm itself, where you really get to sit there and see the farm itself in all of its workings and all of its beauty. It starts up at the front market, it walks through the raised beds, and then you get to go into the back fields, into the greenhouses, and really see what really is behind the gate and kind of see what we're really doing. Because besides supplying to the farm itself for produce, we also have an operation here where we supply to Congress Hall, the Virginia Hotel, the Beach Shack, and Louisa's Cafe, also in Cape May. So, guests of the tour can kind of see that operation as well, which is really exciting.
Ed, where can people find more information and possibly book some of these fantastic events?
So you can visit our website, Beach Plum Farm Cape May, and right there's a link on some of the events. We have all of our events coming up. We have some packages going on right now to the end of the year, for some midweek stays and some weekend getaways. The farm is amazing for the weekend getaways, which are great. Right now we're offering a what a difference a day makes, because we just got given an award by Michelin Key. We're one of 2 hotels in the state of New Jersey with cottages that got this award from Michelin. And in honor of that, we're doing what a difference a day makes. So if you book 2 days, you get your 3rd day compliments of us. And all that information is all on the website. And you can look at our tours. You can book the tours. You can also book our farm to table dinners, like I said, that run on Fridays and Saturdays, which are amazing, that you get to really taste what's going on in the farm. And then these packages, like the Rooted packages or the migration packages or the Home for the Holiday stuff, is all also on our website at beachplumfarmcapemay.com.
Fantastic. Ed, thank you so much for your time today.
Well, thank you so much. And you have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thanks for watching South Jersey in Focus. I'm your host, Veronica Dudo. We look forward to seeing you next time. Be sure to watch more on New Jersey at onnj.com.